What's up, guys? Welcome to the 12th episode of Trench Talk. I'm here with just one co-host today, LTR. NRV has a very important golf match that he'll be attending today, so he'll be a little busy today, won't be here. And then we have a guest for this week, How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Shut up, Anon. I'm doing I'm doing great. It's good to be back. Obviously, I missed another episode. I'm just like an absent father here. But yeah, been a good week. Everything's looking ripe in the market. You know, we had a big dump, but we straight candled it, and we're back nearing all-time highs again. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Bears are fucked.
Yeah. No, you go.
I said Bears are fucked.
They are.
Thank God.
Eternally. They should
Need
be.
them gone. Imagine
Nuke
just having a
Just
down
not
vibe the entire time. Dog shit. I've been alright. I've been trading.
You've been sick.
I got sick over the weekend. But I made a little bit of money on the Assassination stuff, but I sold everything too early to
That's
really
a crazy
capitalize on
statement,
it.
not gonna lie. Like what other industry?
Hey,
you just
brother,
say, I made
nothing's
money
better
on the
than
assassination attempt.
Nothing's better than watching the chats just absolutely fly after an attempted assassination. Everyone posting pump fun links. It's really
Pump fun is
euphoric.
faster than breaking news. I'm just gonna say that.
Bro, I was saying
Some
it the other day.
motherfucker, dude. Some dude was at the Trump rally, heard the shots, and deployed a pump fun. I guarantee it.
Bro, I was talking about it. I was like, I'm really becoming a politician over here. Like,
I wouldn't say
I didn't
that.
know shit about politics, and now I feel like I could decently have a conversation now
That's what everyone
out
on
of just
Twitter
pump fun
thinks, man.
coins.
Out of just
Literally.
pump fun coins.
But yeah, I'm kind of coping because this week there was some mooners, and I kind of got caught off guard because the past couple weeks it's been kind of dead. Maybe just like a couple like 1 mil toppers, but this week was like really good. So coping a little bit about that. Papered a lot of stuff, but yeah, kind of. It's nice seeing like people get these big, huge wins. You know, like yeah, I missed out, but that's like the perfect motivator for me. Like, okay, yeah, they hit this mass amount of X's on Miggles. Like, I'm down. I'm ready to lock in. Like, that should have been me. Like, let's go. But anyways,
the market in general. Although, like Miggles is taking all the liquidity out of base tokens right now. I mean, eventually that's just going to trickle down because gamblers are going to gamble.
Was there any trading volume on base?
That's the thing, right? Like, Coinbase posted that tweet, and I kind of faded, which is totally on me. Congrats to everyone that hit that. But I was just like, man, base been dead as fuck. And then I was like, I'm not bidding shit over there. It's probably going to top at like 3 mil in a bundle.
I was the idiot only trying to place Solana pump funds on it. I didn't even think about it launching on base. I'm stupid. I'm not going to talk about it. We'll talk about
This is
Miggles
why we
there,
have a
though.
podcast.
To share that we're idiots.
Exactly.
That's hilarious.
But anyways,
how about you? You have a good week?
Nah, bro. I had a horrible week because I decided to launch a coin, and apparently this has been the biggest mistake I've ever made in my entire life. And I've been sick the whole way through, which is even worse. I dropped like fucking 12 pounds over the last fucking 6 days. So yeah, I've been going through it, but not so bad, man. It's fortunately I already made plenty of fucking money, and you know, I don't need this to particularly do well, even though it's not at zero, which is great. I'm a good dev. My coin has launched in 5 days, and I haven't been at zero yet. So that's an accomplishment compared to
Solana, man.
Especially on Solana, compared to the longevity of coins, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, deving a coin, if you're not a scammer, is a scam. Straight up. Like if you're not a scammer, if you're not a scammer, deving an actual coin and actually putting your like doxing yourself as a person who did that is a scam because one, like you have to basically do everything because you're actually trying to send the fucking coin. You're not just getting in and out. So if the price goes up, fantastic. If the price goes down, you're a scammer, even though like you're not the one that's fucking things up, which has been the case here. I've with this one thing I learned from launching a coin is that nobody should like it's not something. It's something you should do like single-handedly, and nobody should be involved in that process. Because basically, what happened in this situation was that a couple people were involved in that process, and they had just fucked everything. So that's one thing I learned from launching a coin is that you just do it yourself, single-handedly. You don't trust anybody, and then you just if you do that, the likelihood of your coin succeeding, if you're actually legit and not a scammer, is way higher than if you get a few people in, and then one of them ends up being a fucking idiot and ruins the party for everybody else. Because that's how it goes with meme coins, because they have no liquidity, so there's no room for people to exit without doing damage, and especially if they have big numbers of supply. So yeah, my week hasn't been great, but listen, it's all good. As I said, fortunately, I already have made a lot of money from trading, where I'm not stressing out too much about any of this, to be completely transparent.
No, I think that's great. I mean, like, I don't think people realize, all the time people are like, oh, someone should deploy a coin based off this meme, or someone should make this coin. And I don't think people realize, especially because I've seen a lot of, like, people do deving and people making their own coins, how hard it is. Like, it is a full-time job. It really is. Especially if you're trying and you're being good and you're being transparent. Like, I mean, it can be worth it for sure if it moons, but, like, I don't think people realize that everything has to work out for it to moon, like, to 100 mil. Like, you can do everything right, everything,
yes.
But the market can just, like, nuke, and then you're dead. And you did everything right, and then people will call you a scammer, right? And it's that interesting dynamic between a failed startup type thing versus a scam, and people in crypto just don't see a difference between the two, because they're just focused on making or losing money.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, I'm not even upset. Like, whatever people say or whatever people want to say, regardless of how the coin goes. Like, whatever people say, people are going to say what they're going to say. The reality of this market is everybody, honestly, trading this market is like the easiest. It's actually funny because when I started in the trenches like everybody else, right? I started back in December, like actual trading. Like November, I was just learning about crypto. I was having Zoom calls with Sonder so he could teach me about fucking Uniswap and how to swap a coin. So, like, I wasn't really trading until, like, December. So, like, I put 20K into the market. I lost, like, 18 grand in December, basically. I was down to, like, 2K. And I could have put more money into the market, but I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to earn my stripes. Basically, I'm going to make sure that, like, whatever money I make from here, I'm going to earn that. And I'm just not injecting free liquidity into this market continuously, because, like, if I just do that, I'm never going to learn from my mistakes. So, yeah, that's kind of what happened at that point. And from that point forward, basically... I started getting into the trenches in January, and like I started getting in December, and in January I was down to my last 2K in the market, and then I had to grind it out in the trenches. Pump fund wasn't even a thing back then, and you could actually get rugged, where people would just pull liquidity on you. It was a different ball game. But basically, at that point, um, I grinded back up. Then I got really early. That's my favorite style of trading. A lot of people have different styles of trading, even on chain, right? I don't think trading matters as much on chain as it does on perps. But some people, they like to click and click and click and click 24/7 and just scalp a bunch and just fucking buy shit on Pump Fund and like do all this shit basically.
Yeah, for sure. And I
And
do have a
then
lot of respect for you in that regard because you did earn your stripes, right? Like you had this large Twitter account that you could have totally just like, pasted pump funds or pasted contract addresses of your own coins over and over
oh
again
yeah,
and rugged people like we see a lot of big Twitter accounts do that aren't necessarily crypto native. Or like the account isn't crypto native. Obviously, you were entrenched in crypto, but
yeah,
you could have totally done that, and you didn't. You created a new account, UM. You had the Omni-Man PFP. I remember that, and
yes
you
sir.
just grinded, and I respect that a lot. I think that's when we talk about like onboarding these celebrities or onboarding these big accounts, that's how it should be, rather than I'm gonna make a coin immediately and just like rug my followers, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's the only way to do it, man. Because like, I don't think people. I think people are just short sighted. I don't think they understand like
Mm-hmm.
feedback loops and like you know second and third order consequences of their actions. That's just the reality of the situation, right? So like for me, like I could do that for sure, but that's not like in a longer time frame. That's only gonna end up in a few ways, right? I'm either gonna lose it all anyway, because like the way I see it, right, is like we can make all the money in the world, but we only keep the amount of money we think we actually deserve intrinsically. That's just how I see it. That's why
Yeah.
like the reason I think that, and that's why you see a lot of like people that do make ridiculous amounts of money, but they end up giving it all back to the market because you know intrinsically there's something in them that believes that they don't deserve to have that much money, so they find ways subconsciously to self-sabotage and give it back to the market so they don't have it anymore. So either it ends up that way because like if I did that, I'm not a fucking psychopath or a sociopath. um like I have a line of morals and principles. So like if I did that, I would just feel horrible about myself, and I would find a way to give all that back to the market anyway. Then from that point, if that didn't happen somehow magically, then I would probably get you know someone, especially because I do have a doxed account, right? Someone would find me, and they would either beat the fuck out of me, or they would fucking rob me, or they would kill me, or some shit like that. So like, or I would go to jail, or some bullshit. Like something bad would inevitably happen because just that's just how it fucking goes. Like there's no escaping that. You like everything kind of just in the end, everything just falls in line. Like the universe finds its balance one way or
Mm-hmm.
another. So like, yeah, I would never like just get in here and fucking do that shit because that shit is gay to begin with. But more importantly, it just leads to bad karmic consequences, which I honestly don't want to fucking deal with anyway. So yeah. Uh, Besides that, there's the other aspect or the other situation where basically, um, as I was going back to what I was saying, like there's few styles of trading, right? Like some people click, some people swing, bigger like bigger coins. Some people size only like after a certain market cap. Some people try to figure out narratives before they, majority of the market is looking at them. And that's really what I've been good at doing for the most part. Like I usually have the ability to, one, see something before other people see it, and two, to call it when, it's kind of overflown, or, you know, it's overheated and it's max attention. So these are two things I'm really good at. So like that's how I approach it. So back in and the thing about these markets, especially on chain, is that I don't think people realize that there's actually not a lot of liquidity on chain. As like people think there's a lot of liquidity because coins send to like some coin will send to fucking, I don't know, 50 million market cap in one day, one fucking random day. And people will be like, oh, like there's so much money in this market and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is there's not actually a lot of money in this market, in the sense that there's not a lot of participants in it. People think that just because like coins send to a certain amount, like first of all, these coins have complete dog shit liquidity. So like it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, they're gonna fucking send. That's just how it goes. But um, on top of that, right? There's there's only so many participants. It's like probably like 30,000 of us just fucking PvPing each other all day, every single day, just trying to like just basically grabbing each other's money from each other's pockets and putting it into our own pockets, which is hilarious, by the way. Um, and that gets exponentiated with the effect of pump fund and just having all these deploys every single day with all this dilution. It's basically like it's what you were saying. You either create like a winner that's like that has all the right pieces falling in place together, or you're cooked effectively. So yeah, basically back in and that's important, because if you understand that, you understand that it's very easy to create positive feedback loops in the on-chain market, just as easy as it is to create negative feedback loops in the on-chain market. What do I mean by that? I mean that we're all like, as I said, there's not been a lot of new participants coming into this market. It's just been the same people just getting richer over the over the past few months. So basically, we're all kind of like sophisticated now. Some of us more than others, but we kind of all have a very like just a very broad understanding of what's actually going on. So it's easy to create a narrative, right? So like all you got to do is you start with one group chat. You start fucking dropping the psyops in one group chat. Then one people from that group chat buys it and goes into the other group chat and starts spreading the propaganda. All of a sudden, everybody's talking about something, because this market is just, it's just, as I said, just fucking 30,000 of us just PvPing each other. So now combine that, as I said, it's very easy to create those feedback loops. Combine that with fucking with again tapping into something that makes sense before other people do, and then you're gonna like it's super easy to make money in this market. So that's basically what happened with me. I saw the base thesis, right, that only like a very select few people are talking about in February, and I'm like, I started exploring this, and like what they were saying made sense in my head. It's kind of like, oh, Solana has this problem because it's becoming hyper competitive because it has all these new coins coming out and blah blah blah. And base is kind of like a fresh thing. It's the L2 that Coinbase is going to focus on to onboard retail, and they're going to come out with these smart wallets, and they're also going to have a native token. These are all things that were being rumored at the time, right? but nobody was really fucking paying any attention, really. So I started exploring base in the beginning of February, and I'm like, I'm buying these coins. Like, I'm looking at these coins that there's no coins to buy, basically. But the coins that I did buy, they were basically like up only, because there's no like people are not really PvPing each other, because like there's only so many people on the chain. So I bought a few coins. The one coin that I bought the most of was Circle, um, which was like this cool like thing that would burn tokens without taxing anybody, which was like this novel concept at the time, and nobody had really done that before. So like, okay, I have this I have this thing that is novel. Nobody's really talking about it. And it's kind of fascinating in a way. And I have this L2 that nobody's paying attention to, but I have a hunch that people will start paying attention to it, especially at the time, because Solana's having like all these problems with congestions and like just not working properly and just people getting rugged all the time. So I started just posting about that, like, oh, I think we're gonna see a base rotation. Here's why. Blah 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 blah. So like, fast forward like a few weeks, and basically like I'm just bull posting my bags to infinity, and my entries are like anywhere between 50 to 300k market cap, and my bags are going to the 8-figure market cap, right? Because again, I was early onto that narrative, onto that rotation. I positioned myself, and then all I did was spread a narrative. And you spread a narrative with enough people that actually makes sense. Is that it actually has? Because again, I come from a different world, right? I come from a business world, and this is how you get customers for anything. You get people to believe something, even if that, like, the funny part, and this is gonna sound a little bit fucked up, but the funny part is these things don't even have to be true. They just have to sound true. Like, and it's easy to it's kind of easy to make something sound true and not necessarily be true, because like it can be true from one point of view, right? But it's also as easy to like dismantle that like point of view with another one.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like everything in crypto is product is bearish. And I think a lot of people will enjoy crypto because the whole point of it is like speculation, right? So what you're kind of going off of, which I hope you would agree with this, is kind of, people want to believe in the idea of something, like, oh, this great Ponzi, like,
people want to
circle.
believe it goes higher. Speculation drives price.
Yeah,
Like everyone's here just to make money. It's everything's speculation.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? So because everything is speculation, you give people reasons to speculate, and you give them solid, like, it's kind of like what I did recently as well, like, and you don't even need a lot. You just need to latch on to an idea. It's kind of like in business, there's this thing that's called the big idea, right? Which is like, I used to do a lot of copywriting, and I used to write a lot of sales letters, which is basically like you selling something, right? But I used to write long form copywriting, which is like, it's not like an ad that you see for like Coca-Cola or whatever. It's more so like like almost like writing a thesis, or writing, imagine like the way I would put it back in the day is, I would talk about it like, this is how, imagine like you're a lawyer and you have a client, and if you win, the client walks away free. If you lose, the client goes to jail. This is how you should approach. And then everything in between is your arguments, your proof, your the way you deliver all of these things. And that's how I used to look at a sales letter, almost like a lawyer writing a case effectively. And that's all it is. Like, it's all the same fucking shit. Like, thesis for coins and for narratives are the same thing as writing a long form sales letter, or like writing your case to defend someone or to attack someone for something. It's all the same thing. It's just persuasion, right? So if you think about it, like, even recently, came up with this thesis, right? It didn't even take a lot. I was just looking at Mog, right? I was already positioned in a few culture coins, right? That right now are just absolutely ripping to infinity. Zoomer, Lock-in, GigaChad, like all these coins, right? And I saw Mog just continuously reprice higher, um, while the market was just kind of fucking just chopping around, right? So I'm like, Mog is showing this relative strength, and Mog is kind of like the culture coin, right? So I was like, okay, as Mog reprices to billions, like, we're gonna see a wide effect of this influencing other culture coins and redirecting attention to all these other culture coins, and this is gonna become the sort of the new meta. And here's my bets, and here's why I'm making these bets. Blah 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 blah. Boom. Put out the tweet. Was already talking about it in a couple group chats. Like 1-2 days after, I just see a bunch of people on the timeline copying like what I said, word for word, bar for bar, basically. And I'm not saying I was the only person who drove this narrative forward. Obviously, I wasn't. But it's funny because, like, once you convince enough important people of something, then those important people also start convincing other important people of something. And then the people that are not as important start paying attention to the important people. And then it gets to, or the people with more influence than them. And then it gets to a point where, there you go. Now everybody talking about culture coins. Everybody talking about this and that. Everybody buying the fucking million derivatives of culture coins that come out. It's just like that. It just happens, right? So, like, I find it very interesting how easy it is. And again, I think I believe a reason it's that easy is because I believe a reason it's that easy is because, you know, um, there's just not a lot of people in this market. There's some people with a bunch of money. There's just not a lot of people in this market. And everybody's in the same group chats. Everybody's the same Telegram groups. Everybody's following the same call channels. Everybody's wallet tracking now. Like, there's no edge, basically. So, like, everybody just front runs each other. And by the time something gets to the timeline, um, just already everybody's already positioned, right? Unless, again, you look at something before everybody does. And that's what I usually do in this market, and that's how I win personally. But the beauty about this market is that you can win any way you want. Like, you don't even have to be a good narrative trader. You don't have to give, like, you don't have to be a good fucking swinger. You can be a great scalper. You just fucking buy the pump fund at 5K market cap and you sell it at fucking 20K, and you do this fucking 50 times a day. There you go. You just made a shit ton of soul. Or you position yourself before everybody else. Then everybody else comes buy your bags. There you go. You just made a shit ton of money. You are really good at finding bottoms and not panic when everybody is saying that it's over. And then you buy the bottom, and then everybody just buys after you. There you go. You just made a bunch of money. Like, there's so many ways to win in this market, and that's the beauty of it. And the other thing too is that, like, it's never over, really, unless you're really like a piece of shit. People are very like forgiving, and they don't really care much, because at the end of the day, we're all just market participants, just doing our best, right? So, like, even if you want to blame external circumstances or somebody else for your failures, that's not going to do you any good whatsoever. Like, you need to take responsibility for your own like for your own outcomes with everything in life, because that's the only thing you're going to improve in any capacity. And yeah, I know I rambled a bit. I know that was a bit of a ramble, but I've just been yapping.
No, I mean it was like all good information. Like, that's why we weren't really like stopping in or anything. Like it was like 100% agree of like basically everything you said. And I mean, I don't know. This market's very rewarding, and yeah, it's really worth it just to put in the time and effort, and not in just like things that are on topic necessarily, like in meta, but also to pay attention and look for new things. Like you were saying, you know, how you were kind of early on to some base plays, just because you were just like, hey, I'm just going to use this thesis that Coinbase is going to make base big, and I'm going to, you know, position myself within base chain. It's just worth it to not only A, be here every day, B, put in the work. Like, I don't know. I love this. I love doing this as a job. It's so rewarding. You make good money.
Yeah, the other thing too is like, and the beauty of this is there's really nowhere else where you can effectively like make this much of like asymmetrical returns as a normal person. Like there's no other market or no other industry where you can do this, and that's what I realized. Because listen, I've ran up businesses to like 7 figures, right? So like, it's not like I'm fucking poor. I had money before crypto. That's why I also don't do any of the scam shit, because I don't have to. Like, that's the reality. But I have my friend Sonder. Like, we were friends before like I got into crypto, right? Like, and Sonder's an amazing dude, and I'm just like, back in like October, I was looking at things, right, and I was really bored because I just finished like running up one of my business ventures, and I was just really fucking bored, in general. So I'm like, you know what? I want to do something new. I want to do something different, right? Um, so I was like, okay, let's take a look at the crypto charts. And I look at the charts and I'm like, oh, this seems like it has been bottomed for a minute, and it seems like it's slowly like going up. Let me talk to Sonder real quick. So I message him a little bit, and I'm like, how's crypto doing, bro? Like, this shit doesn't look so bad. He's like, yeah, it's not so bad. Like, it might go start going soon. And I'm like, all right, let's hop on a Zoom call so he can explain everything to me. And then like I was just fascinated. I'm like why the fuck would I want to be doing anything else? Like, if I like making money, right, which is the goal for me, not because like I want to be rich or anything, but the way I see money is kind of like a sport, where like hitting the milestones is just kind of like for fun, because I've always been a competitive person. So
yeah, and at the end of the day, shit costs money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know.
It takes money to make money. That's what they always say, and I think that's what a lot of people in crypto forget is they want, you know, this. They want to put in like $1 and then have $1 million, and it's like, well, yeah, you can get lucky and hit the whiff or whatever, but a lot of that's just luck or like forgetting you own it at that point. Because I think people always say, I see this a lot on Twitter, and I've done this myself, but I've come to realize like, you probably would have sold at a certain point, right? Like, how many people are buying sub 1 million shitters and holding to 500 million? Like, at a certain point, it's just like, you know, the profit's too tempting and whatever. So it's like, if you made money, a win's a win. Obviously, like, you can always learn, like, oh, I should have held this more, I should have saw these signs and whatnot. But people beat themselves up too much, I think, because I think the vast majority forget that most people in crypto are unprofitable, and we need to remember that.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, man. That's the other thing too, which is funny. It's kind of like a weird concept, like, because it's. I mean, it's not really that hard to be profitable in this market. To be completely transparent, Like, you just gotta not be a fuck up. I think that's the other thing too that a lot of people miss the mark on is like they think making money in this market is about like hitting 100x's, and it has nothing to do with that whatsoever. Like, there's so many ways to make money in this market. There's so many niches that you can tap into. There's so many ways of trading that you can tap into. But more importantly, like you don't need the fucking the 100x. You don't need the 1000x. Like, that's just obviously if you hit those, congratulations. Like, awesome. Like, you were early and you held and that paid off. But dude, like, you don't even need that shit to make it in these markets. Like, you just need the proper sizing at the right time, and to be not. You don't have to be the first. That's the other thing too that I think people miss. I think even being the first is like detrimental in a lot of cases, because like being the first is very hard to figure out if something has the juice or not to be that one play, right? You don't have to be the first, but you just have to be early enough. It's kind of like people see a coin at like 1 million market cap that has some juice in it, and like clearly like there's something to it, and they'll say that they missed it, which is absolutely insane behavior if you think about it. But that's how most people operate in this market, which is fascinating, hilarious almost. Um, and yeah, like at the end of the day, dude, like as I was saying, like there's nowhere I would rather be than in crypto right now, because there's the risk the risk adjusted returns that you can make here are just unbeatable by any other industry. It's just, especially with meme coins.
Yeah, I think one thing that's really important, especially for like anyone new coming on, like if they are struggling to make money, the biggest thing of how I learned, which it sounded like you learned from Sonder, just taking off what I've heard you speak about, is finding someone like in this industry that has had obvious success or is just obviously successful and obviously having good results and kind of just learning from them. Like when in the like deep bear market 2022, I was in Hideout and just kind of listening to people that were obviously way higher portfolio than me and making way more money in this space. And I've kind of always stuck behind that thesis of just at the current moment, I'm trading in this group called The Picnic, and a couple of them are like really good on EVM chains, and I'm just not the best at the moment. I'm kind of just taking whatever they say is gold, and I think that's just a really good strategy to implement to yourself because, I mean,
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with learning.
that's the other thing too that I think is important is like, yeah, just surround yourself by the right people. But I will say this, like sometimes, yeah, sometimes like you gotta discern. I think that's one thing I learned that has been extremely important for me to learn is because again, you kind of when you're fresh, um you're just very euphoric, but you gotta realize that unfortunately because of the anonymous aspect of things and which I'm not saying is a bad thing necessarily, it just requires more discernment on your part. You just kind of have to like navigate the entire space with a little bit of caution, because these people are just not your friends. Like by default, like it's kind of hard to be friends with somebody else in this market because you make money by other people buying your thing. So intrinsically, like in order for you to make money, other people have to buy your vaporware after you buy it, right? So naturally, the nature of the game itself is very player versus player, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you can't make friends in this industry. You absolutely can. I have plenty of friends. But it does mean that some people will be friendly with you or try to be friendly with you, but they're not your friends. They're trying to like it's crazy like how many people I've met in this industry that like proactively try to do fuck shit to other people. It's just very bizarre. Just like, especially if you're already making money, like it's kind of like, what satisfaction do you get out of just doing all this ridiculous garbage that some of these people do? But regardless, yeah, like find someone that you can trust, and learn from them. And that's been one of the blessings I've had. Is, as I said, I was successful outside of crypto already. So like I know successful people know successful people. That's the thing, right? So I have many friends, not only Sonder, but like some guys that are actual heavy hitters and are whales who like play perps and do it with big boy size, right? And like I already knew these people way before crypto, right? So like to me, it was kind of easy to do that and navigate because I was already surrounding myself with those people in the same group chats and talking to them every day and asking them. That's the thing. You can't be afraid of asking people shit. Like that's all what I just did with these people that were more experienced than me. And then obviously I also went out and hunted for my own stuff. Like you can't be expected people to be giving you free lunch either. That's another thing. Like it's funny, I have a Telegram channel that people used to look at as a call channel. I don't think it's a call channel, but that's kind of what people are looking for in this market. That's what there's demand for. But man, um, these uh, these people that follow these call channels and that's how they play this market. Like you're literally insane. Like you're an insane person because like you're literally putting yourself in a position where your success is solely determined on if somebody else is gonna like pump your bags or give you free lunch. Like you're never gonna make it if that's how you approach the market. So like I went out there like because I got fucking I myself have gotten rugged many fucking times, and I got used as exit liquidity many times myself. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, I'm starting to see the pattern here, so I'm just gonna hunt for my own shit. So like I started following these obscure accounts with like low followings and like in the trenches posting about like, oh, we caught this 30x and we caught this 100x, and I talked to these people and I joined their groups and I just started grinding with them to a point where fortunately I didn't I didn't really have to do that shit anymore because like I can't do the fucking 20K market cap shit. Like I would lose my fucking mind if I had to do that again. But yeah, at the time I didn't have a choice because I got rugged back to back on 2 plays. It was my first time getting rugged. Actually, I had this ETH coin that was called MXH, and I remember some story like the coin just went to fucking zero overnight. I remember some story that the dev was like, just I don't know, man. Like it was funny, but I got rugged on that, and then the next day I got rugged on another Solana play that I sized in super heavy into because it was supposed to be a free ride that I got info from one of my friends, and then again overnight I went to sleep. Next day I was basically at zero after being up like 500 SOL in positive P&L. So I'm like, after that, yeah, I gotta grind. I gotta do that shit. But like, that's what you gotta do if you want to make it. You just gotta get together with the grinders, and then over time evolve, which is kind of what I did. Right? I was just hitting shit 24/7 until eventually I got invites to other groups and just started getting connected with people with bigger pull and all this stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
you kind of look at it
I feel like
like a
you
career.
gotta.
That's kind of what I
Yeah, I
looked
feel
at.
like you gotta have to like start up a totem pole. You gotta get your feet wet, and then you have to just sort of work yourself up. Like usually people will kind of find a couple people to work with, or they'll join some sort of public-ish group, And, you just got to take your lessons and learn, And it's almost like the best way to learn is to lose, honestly.
Oh yeah,
And you got to
100%.
take all your experiences and just slowly grind up. But I do think we should probably talk about some topics kind of this week.
Sure.
I think one topic, because personally, I don't know how old you are, I'm 24, and LTR is young as well. And so this is kind of our first financial year going into politics and all that, whatever. But, it was really kind of insane for me to watch this previous Saturday's attempted Trump assassination and how the market just reacted to it. Like, we were literally in like this death range of everyone bear posting on CT. Like, everyone was depressed. The group chats were just at an all-time high of PvP. It's still pretty PvP, but like it was probably the highest it's been in a while last week. And then, man, markets just erupted, and we finally broke through 60K, and we're all like back to happiness now. It was just crazy to see. Very, very insane.
Yeah, so to answer your initial question, I'm 27. I was one of the last bulls, man. I was like, dude, I think people time rug themselves a lot on this market, and because they do that, they miss the bigger picture. It's kind of like, oh, I'm gonna scalp Solana from 180 to 120. Okay, that's not a bad move. I did it myself actually, but it's kind of like at some point, it's what they always say on the timeline, right? Like, why would you not want to have exposure to the thing that you participate in every single fucking day? It just doesn't make sense, And yeah, the almost Black Swan event is hilarious because if they did their job properly and Trump got assassinated, you would see the exact opposite effect, which is insane to think about. It's kind of like what happened was amazing, right? Because now, like, the likelihood of the golden bull run is like as high as ever. But if the opposite happened, then the markets are cooked. So, like, it's very interesting how markets react. But again, even if that did happen, right? People would be like, "It's over, right? We're cooked." But even then, it would not be over. Like, people really overestimate how likely it is that, like, an established market, the likelihood of an established market going is actual zero. Like, it's extremely, 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 extremely low. So it's kind of like, that's what I was telling my group chats when before the whole thing was going down. Everybody's like, "Oh, this shit looks cooked. It's over." Like, everybody's fucking depressed, and I'm like, bro, you're just time rugging yourself because of what you're seeing on the day to day, you're convincing yourself that this shit is not going to be trading higher 6 months from now, and we both know that it is, right? Maybe it's not, but like, that's what I have conviction in. That's what you have conviction in. Like, you can't let that sway just because of short-term
Yeah, I
conditions.
think a big thing is like when you try to make trades, a big thing is time frame of what you're thinking of the trade is, right? Like you'll see someone just be like, "Oh my God, Soul's going to the absolute shithole," or "Oh my God, like Soul's going to the moon," whatever, yada yada yada. And especially like if you're new and you're seeing that, it can like really mentally affect your decision making. And it's like almost everyone you're dealing with in these group chats are pretty young, I would say. And, if you're actually having a serious conversation, you need to be like, okay, anytime you make a trade, you need to mentally make a time frame to yourself within this trade, right?
Yep.
I think that's super, super important. You need to know, okay, do I think this is going to be bearish on the short term? What do I think midterm, long term, right? And I think you need to like keep that mental note of when you're making trades.
Yeah, 100%. Like, again, if you're younger, I understand being more emotional, but like, here's one thing I've learned being a little bit older than you guys. One, like 25, you're gonna see a big difference on how you think. I know like people talk about this, but I went through this, and I know many friends of mine that went through this as well. You just kind of change how you think about things when you reach 25. It's like, the fully developed prefrontal cortex, and people think that's a meme, but it's not. But on top of that, it's kind of like, um, dude, being a little bit older, I can tell you, and I've been down bad many times. I'm not even talking crypto now. Like the last 4 years, ever since I quit my job, dude, there have been like 3 to 4 times where I was like, okay, I got to do fucking something because I got to pay rent next month. Otherwise, I'm cooked. And yeah, man. And the beauty of that is that, like, if you're a dude, like a young, abled, military age dude, you're there's no there is nothing that you cannot like get out of. There's nothing that you can't like resolve. That's the beauty of life, is that things could seem so fucked up and cooked, but if your back is really against the wall, that's when you really shine the most. And this is something I've experienced many times over, because necessity is the mother of invention, right? So it's kind of like, dude, like, even if the entire market went to shit, even if you lost it all, even if, dude, you have so many more chances. Like, obviously, it's not, ideally, you don't have to go through that. I think that's the reason why I've been able to preserve a lot of the money that I've made with crypto. It's because I already went through that shit in other industries. But, like, ideally, you preserve the money that you make, right? But sometimes you're not gonna, because you're gonna make mistakes that you just simply don't know that you're gonna make. And you're gonna fuck up, and you're gonna lose it all. Maybe you don't lose it all, but you're gonna lose a substantial amount. Or maybe you lose it all. And if you do, the beauty is, like, there's another chance. Like, even if we go into a bear market, right? Tomorrow, which we're not, obviously, but if we did, like, all you need to do is get resourceful. Just learn how to trade perps. If you do on chain, short this fucking scam market. Just fucking or trade another market, right? That has more volume, more liquidity in it. If we went into a crypto bear market, like, or learn something, like, there's so many ways out. Like, there's too many ways out. Like, at this point, like, you can literally make a career out of anything that you want to make it out of. So it's kind of like, dude, the world could end on some black swan like COVID type event tomorrow, and like, you could lose a shit ton of money and feel like you're fucking cooked, and you would wake up tomorrow and be like, okay, what's next? What do I got to do now? How do I get back on my feet? And that's the beauty, man. And I think if you approach these markets with that mentality, I think you're going to be much more likely to succeed, because I think what really makes a lot of people like not be successful in these markets is, one, it's either like excessive greed, where like they just want more and more and more and more, and they become extremely short-sighted and start doing extremely short-sighted shit, or they are too careful, right? They're like, they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose more than they want to win, and that's a that's a surefire way to make sure that you're not going to be successful in anything in life. Like, you need to play to win. You can't play to not to lose. There's a time and a place to play not to lose, you know. But
Yeah,
right now, it's
no,
not the time.
I definitely agree with that. Like, being optimistic is like really important. And just like, hey, if you lose, like it's about how you recover. Like you got to do something to sort of fix your problems. But what I will say, and I'll probably just end it on this is LTR, kind of anything y'all are looking at for this next week or anything?
I think I'm looking at base trickle down from Miggle's profit taking for sure. I think it'll be short lived, frankly, but I am looking for opportunities there. Beyond that, I think Solana ripping right now as we speak. It's like approaching 170 again, plus the ETF for Solana coming up. I just think Solana's the place to be. Actually, some alpha I think that is pertinent is BNB. CZ is set to be released pretty soon, so I think there will be some narrative plays on BNB chain. Again, I think they'll probably be short-lived, but I do think there will be some opportunity there.
Yeah, please buy Cummies. I'm down bad on it. Please buy Cum Rocket. I bought the local top. But anything you looking at upcoming for the next week? We're basically approaching on the hour, so I'll probably just go ahead and end it. Thank y'all, everyone, for listening. Thank you for coming on today, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for all the great insight.
Yeah, it was great talking to you, man. Yeah, for sure, man. But alrighty, thank y'all for listening. Peace.